Imagine this. It's 6:30 a.m. Your alarm buzzes and your heart rate jumps before you even sit up. You shuffle to the kitchen, hit the coffee, and check your phone while the cup fills. 10 minutes later, you're out the door. The stairs on the way to the garage feel steeper than last month. You pause on the landing, hand on the rail, telling yourself you're just out of shape. That tiny moment, rushed morning, little spike in pressure, breath that takes longer to come back, seems harmless. But stacked day after day, it can nudge your arteries in the wrong direction. Here's the straight answer to today's big question. No drink, detox, or single cleanse will scrub plaque out of your arteries overnight. The smarter, science-backed goal is to slow plaque growth and make existing plaque harder to break, so it's less likely to rupture and cause a heart attack. The good news? Most heart disease is driven by factors we can influence daily: blood pressure, blood lipids, blood sugar, sleep, movement, food choices, tobacco exposure. Global heart health leaders emphasize that addressing these basics prevents a huge share of cardiovascular trouble. Before we get practical, let's peek inside the body. Picture your artery lining like a slick, non-stick surface. When blood pressure runs high, when LDL particles are plentiful, and when inflammation is smoldering, that surface gets micro-scratches. Cholesterol-rich particles sneak underneath, the immune system reacts, and a mound, plaque, slowly forms. Over time, the most dangerous plaques aren't just big, they're unstable. A strong cap over the plaque is safer. A thin, inflamed cap is fragile. Many treatments and habits aim to lower the burden of artery-harming particles and cool the inflammation so the cap stays tougher and less likely to crack. Now back to that morning staircase. Cardiologists have long observed that heart events cluster in the morning hours, a window when many people experience a morning surge in blood pressure. That's why tiny routine choices at the start of the day matter: hydration, a calmer ramp-up, and taking prescribed medication exactly as directed if you use it. Reviews in the medical literature link exaggerated morning surges with higher event risk, especially in people with hypertension. Let's ground this in a relatable story. Meet Anna, 58. She wakes to 3 back-to-back alarms, gulps coffee, and commutes seated for 40 minutes. She's noticed 2 things: a thicker waistline and heavier breathing on stairs. Her last checkup showed LDL a bit high, blood pressure flirting with the 130s over 80s. She tells herself it's aging, but here's the shocker. Nearly half of US adults have high blood pressure, and only about 1 in 4 have it under control. That silent pressure day after day is sandpaper on the artery lining. Anna decides to test one tiny experiment for a week. After each main meal, she walks for 10 to 15 minutes. Nothing intense, just steady. This isn't random. A well-known trial in diabetes care showed that 3 15-minute post-meal walks improved 24-hour glucose control more than a single 45-minute walk at another time of day in older adults at risk for diabetes. Tiny muscles acting like glucose sponges right when sugar hits the bloodstream. Simple physiology, big payoff. 7 days in, Anna notices she's less sleepy after lunch and her evening cravings drop. She keeps going and adds 1 breakfast swap, out with the refined white roll, in with oats, berries, and a handful of nuts. Why oats? Because their soluble fiber, beta-glucan, helps pull LDL cholesterol down. A 2022 meta-analysis of randomized trials found that oat beta-glucan lowered LDL meaningfully. It's not magic, but it's real. Think of it as making the traffic of artery-harming particles lighter. What should you watch in your own daily routine? First, your blood pressure pattern, especially mornings. If you have a home cuff, take 2 readings after sitting quietly for 5 minutes, morning and evening, for 7 days. Write them down. If your average is elevated or you're already on medication and still above target, that's a clear signal to talk to your clinician. Second, watch your waist, not your weight alone. A tight belt that used to be loose can hint at more visceral fat, which fuels inflammation. Third, watch your recovery time, how long it takes your breath and heart rate to settle after a stair climb. Slower recovery over months is a nudge to move more and to check in medically if you have symptoms. Which labs help the conversation with your doctor? Start with LDL-C and non-HDL cholesterol. Many clinicians also check apolipoprotein B, ApoB, a count of the artery-entering particles themselves. Glucose markers like fasting glucose and hbA1c show sugar control over time, and an inflammation signal like high-sensitivity C-reactive protein, hs-CRP, can help round out the risk picture. Mayo Clinic explains that hs-CRP is a vessel inflammation marker associated with coronary risk, best interpreted alongside other factors. Now, the practical Do This Today playbook. Grounded, doable, no gimmicks. Step 1. Track for 1 week. Write when, what, how much. Mornings, 2 blood pressure readings, same chair, same time. Meals, circle refined carbs in red. Star any whole grain, legume, nut, veggie. Evenings, jot bedtime and wake time. This small log turns vague health ideas into patterns you can change and bring to your clinician. The American Heart Association's Life's Essential 8 underscores exactly these pillars: sleep, diet quality, activity, weight, tobacco exposure, blood pressure, lipids, and blood sugar as levers that move long-term heart risk. Step 2. Change just one habit now. Pick one of these artery-friendly swaps and lock it in for 7 days. Option A, the post-meal walk, 10 to 15 minutes after lunch and dinner. The glucose benefits show up fast, and steadier glucose means fewer glycation dings to your arteries over time. Option B, the breakfast upgrade, oats plus nuts and berries at least 5 mornings this week. That's soluble fiber for LDL, polyphenols for vascular health, and less refined flour. Option C, the salty for savory switch. Replace 2 high-salt convenience items with cooked-at-home proteins or legumes. High sodium pushes up blood pressure in many people, and pressure is one of the biggest day-to-day threats to your artery lining. Step 3, take your log to your clinician. Clarify your blood pressure target and lipid goals. If your 10-year risk and numbers indicate you'd benefit from medication, that's not giving up. It's adding a stabilizer to the scaffold. Lifestyle plus evidence-based therapy is often the safest path to keep plaque quiet and the caps strong. How does this look in our story? Anna prints her week. Morning averages 134/82. Evenings 128/80. LDL is 140 milligrams per deciliter, non-HDL 140 milligrams per deciliter, 165 milligrams per deciliter. High sensitivity C-reactive protein 2.4 milligrams per liter. Her clinician sets a clear plan. Continue the post-meal walks. Commit to 150 to 180 minutes of brisk walking weekly. Aim for 25 to 30 grams of fiber daily with an oatmeal-forward breakfast most days, and revisit labs in 12 weeks. Together, they discuss whether medication belongs in the plan based on her age and overall risk. The point isn't purity, it's protecting the artery wall from 3 daily insults: pressure spikes, lipoprotein overload, and inflammation. Let's get ultra-specific about movement because it's the most underused drug. You don't need to sprint. The best timing is the one you'll do consistently, with bonus points for right after meals. That simple timing cue shifts glucose and insulin patterns in your favor, and over time, that helps your vessels. If stairs leave you winded today, set a tiny goal: 1 extra flight or an extra minute of brisk walking, 5 days in a row. The body adapts quickly when the nudges are regular. Food isn't a morality test, it's a toolkit. If clearer arteries is the aim, dial up whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, vegetables, fruit, olive oil, and fish. Dial down refined flours, ultra-processed meats, and high-sodium snacks. The oatmeal example is just one evidence-backed lever among many. That soluble fiber, beta-glucan, binds bile acids, nudging the liver to pull more LDL out of circulation to make new bile. Over weeks to months, that lowers LDL in a modest, meaningful way. Again, we're not promising miracles. We're stacking small advantages. What about supplements and artery cleanses? Be skeptical. If something promises to melt plaque in 10 days, it's marketing, not medicine. Real prevention is boring and powerful. Routine movement, thoughtful food pattern, sleep you protect like a meeting, and blood pressure you measure and master. And if your numbers and risk say you'll benefit from medicine, that's part of modern prevention, not a failure of willpower. Quick recap you can screenshot in your head. First, the goal isn't to scrub arteries. It's to quiet and stabilize plaque by taming pressure, lipids, sugar, and inflammation. Second, a short walk after meals is a small habit with outsized metabolic payoffs. Third, the breakfast swap to oats and nuts adds soluble fiber that helps lower LDL over time. Fourth, a 1-week log of blood pressure, steps, sleep, and meals gives you and your clinician a map, not a guess. Fifth, early action means more years with the people you love. If this helped, comment which habit you'll try first: post-meal walk, oats upgrade, or salt swap. Share this video with someone 50+ who wants to protect their heart, and subscribe to catch the next episodes in this heart health series. This is educational content. It doesn't replace individualized medical care. Don't start or stop any medication based on a video. Bring your notes and questions to your doctor.